Hi everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we are going to be exposing Emilie Agreste because I am the Miraculous Ladybug drama channel you never knew you wanted. I'm kidding. Anyway, we don't know a great deal about her. We know she's Adrian's mum, Gabriel's wife, Emilie's twin sister and Felix's aunt. We also know that she's an actress. She knew at least one of the bourgeois adults, and we know what she looks like, and we also know where she currently is because she's been in the same place since the start of the show. However, if we think about it, we actually know some more. So as we know, Emilie is in a coma due to overusing the broken peacock Miraculous. And it does seem, from what I've gathered from other episodes and their wiki pages about the two characters as well, she and Gabriel use their Miraculouses to protect Adrian. But why? Like, what from? What are they so scared of? Like, I get people are protective over their children. Even though I don't have children, I understand because my mum was protective over me. I get it. But surely having two pieces of magical jewellery is just a bit overkill. Like, have they been threatened? I'm not really sure. And as we know, Adrian didn't start school until season 1, and he said in season 1 in Origins, this is the first time he's been to school, meaning that when his mum was still around before her disappearance, it's a disappearance to him, he wasn't allowed to go to school either. So Adrian has been locked inside for his entire life. So what I'm thinking is that surely Emilie is no better than Gabriel because she also agreed to do that to him. And again, I want to ask, like, why? Why was it so important to protect him? Like I said, I get wanting to protect your kids, but why didn't you let him? I physically do not understand. However, even if his mum was really no better than his dad, Adrian, he has a lot of love for his mum and also a lot of love for his dad, despite the way his dad treats him, which I don't think is very nice, but I'm going to make an entire video about Adrian and Gabriel's relationship, and it's not going to be a fun video, I'll tell you now. I'm in the middle of planning it, but it's going to get quite serious, so I want to spend some proper time doing it. I don't want to rush it. So even if Emilie and Gabriel are arguably bad parents, I don't want to call anyone a bad parent necessarily. I mean, I know they're not real, but you know, let's just not call people that. Adrian does have fun with his father, like twice we've seen it happen. He's had like an enjoyable time with his dad, and he also appeared to have fun with his mum. I'm pretty sure he told Plag once and him and his mum used to mess around on the piano and stuff like that, so he did seem like he had fun with them. However, you can still have fun with a parent even if there is a trauma bond in place. Okay, so I didn't explain this very well when I made the video, so you get voice over Hayes for a couple of minutes. So a trauma bond is created from a hot and cold cycle of attention that is usually a back and forth between neglect and kindness. Essentially, your brain gets confused from pumping out happiness hormones and stress hormones, and because it's often intense and happening a lot, your emotions become very confused. Even if you may not necessarily be trauma bonded, this might help you understand it a bit more. You've all probably had that one friend who one day is super nice and the next they're really mean. It leaves you feeling confused and not knowing what you've done to make them like that. Of course, they might not hate you, there could be other factors influencing them being rude to you, like not getting enough sleep or perhaps them falling out with someone else, but it will still leave you feeling confused. But if that's happening to you every single day and it's happening constantly, it's going to mess with your head, which is more crucial for Adrian since it seems like he's been at home from when he was born until Origins. And we know he was 13 in that episode, about to turn 14, as his birthday is in September, October time, which is when the school year starts in France and most of Europe. So he spent almost 14 years with that going on in his head, presumably from at least one, if not both, of his parents. However, this cycle between stress and happiness makes you attached to the person doing it, because even if the bad times are awful, the good times are amazing. Healthy relationships should give you a fairly constant supply of happiness hormones, so even though you may not be super happy all the time, you should feel loved and secure with that person. With a trauma bond, the happiness is withheld, but then you get a sharp increase and it kind of becomes addicting, making it difficult to leave or confront them. Trauma bonds are very common between parents and children, but can also happen between romantic partners as well as friends if you spend enough time together. So back to Miraculous Ladybug, we know that Adrian wishes his dad spent more time with him, and he spends most of his time at home being sad his father won't see him, but when his father does spend time with him, Adrian is over the moon. For example, Gorizilla and Queen Wasp. Adrian is so happy to spend some time with his dad. So Adrian definitely has a trauma bond with his dad, and assuming his relationship with his mum was similar, he might have one with her too, but that's just speculation. So that brings us on to the next question about whether or not Emilie is a villain. And honestly, I don't know. So her wiki describes her as kind and loving, which are pretty good traits. Those are good traits to be described with. But it also says she is stubborn, reckless, dramatic and protective. Like, we already know you're protective, love. Like, probably a bit too protective. Like, calm down, calm down, just chill out a bit. Bit too protective. We also know that in the Shanghai special, obviously the whole special was about this more powerful version of the Miraculous called the Prodigious. I'm still not sure if I'm saying that right. And Gabriel said in the Shanghai special on the plane on the way to Shanghai right at the start that he'd been aiming to do this for 15 years. So the first time I watched the Shanghai special I was like, oh, he probably just means Emilie, because why wouldn't he mean Emilie? Everything he does in this show is because of Emilie. However, Emilie has only been in the coma for, you know, time in Miraculous isn't really that important apparently, so I'm not really sure how long Emilie has been in the coma for, but I would estimate at about 3 to 4 years. However, Adrian, I would estimate, is about 15 years old, so I feel the Prodigious has got to do with something about protecting him. Now, why on earth do the Agreste family need not 1, not 2, but 3 pieces of magical jewellery to protect their son? Maybe it's because he's a senti monster. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure if I put much stock behind the theory that he's a senti monster. I haven't really done much research into it, I haven't thought about it too much, but the only reason I think he's not a senti monster is because he can transform using the Miraculous, and we haven't seen a senti monster do that yet. And the episode Ladybug, that's not the same. The senti monster was created already as Ladybug. Natalie didn't create like a normal human girl and then give her the Miraculous to transform. The senti monster was Ladybug already with the power, and we've already seen that Hawkmoth can give Akuma villains similar powers to the Miraculous, for example Miracula and Vulpina. So like I said, I haven't given it much thought, but I do feel that a senti monster wouldn't be able to use a Miraculous. That's the only reasoning I have for saying Adrian isn't a senti monster. But let me know if you want me to do a video on it. Like I said, I haven't put much thought into it, but I don't think he is. I'm not sure he is. However, back to Emilie for a second. I do kind of want Gabriel to succeed with his wish for maybe like a grand total of 5 seconds, because I really want to see what Emilie's like. I want to see her in action, but like maybe they could just do that with a flashback without having Gabriel to succeed. I just want to know more about her. She's so interesting. Like, she literally has done nothing, and I'm interested in her. I've said this before, that if they made a live action film of Miraculous, not that I'm particularly good at acting, but if I was an actress, I'd want to play Emilie, because she's very important and she hasn't done anything. That's what I want for me. I want to be important without doing anything. So I just want to see her in action through a flashback or something. I need to know more about her. So I just really want to see what she's truly like, because we've seen what her twin sister's like, and her twin sister doesn't seem to be that great of a person either. So this brings me on to the final point about the wedding rings that were talked about in the episode Felix. So the wedding rings were from Emilie and Amelie's family. God, these sibling names in this show. We've got Ella, Etta, Chloe, Zoe, Emilie, Amelie. It's gonna confuse me one day. I'm gonna mix them up eventually. They will not stay as clear as this in my head. I will mix them up all the time. This is going to be a guarantee. So in Felix, Emilie wants these rings back, and Felix steals one, I believe, and she rewards his bad behaviour. If my niece or nephew stole something, I wouldn't be best pleased with them. Whether it was something super serious, like they stole something from a shop, or they just stole something from one of my 3 brothers, I'd be like, that's not good, don't do that. I wouldn't reward them for that behaviour. And apparently Felix is going to be back this season, don't have a clue when. Maybe in the episode Gabriel Agreste, maybe we'll get to see him then, but I don't know. And apparently also these rings are very important and they have a bigger purpose, so maybe we'll get to see them in action in that episode. I have literally zero idea about what they really could do. I have no idea, I don't know. So in conclusion, Adrian is the only confirmed good egg in this family, and the rest of them are shady. So shady. So much shade that it's terrible. I just think they're kind of dodgy. Apart from Adrian, the rest of them are dodgy. So let me know what you think about Emilie. Do you think she's just as shady as the rest of the family appear to be? And I will see you all next time. Bye!